introduce yourself? Tell us your name and where you're from.
Yes, I'm from Port Arthur, Texas, born and raised. My name is King Mansa Musa, aka Wishy Wee, and it's a pleasure to be here.
All right. Well, thank you for being meeting with us today. So today we're just gonna kind of jump in and get a little introduction, learn a little bit about you, and we're gonna learn what life was like in the TDCJ system. Okay. So, first question: before your final sentence, have you ever been locked up before?
Yes, uh, I would say that the sentence that I just discharged, I completed, was my second time. So I could say I'm a two-time loser as far as prison go, but I did do a first time sentence 3 years in the county jail, and I paroled after 6 months on a 3 year sentence.
I thought you just said 16 months after 10
No,
years.
that was my second sentence. The first sentence was 3 years, which
Okay.
I paroled out the county jail.
Okay, so now you got to tell me both of them before this last one.
Right,
Yeah, yeah,
right,
yeah. You
right,
ain't
right,
tell me
right,
that. I
right,
said
right.
you
My bad, I
confused me.
missed it. I missed it because my first, you could pretty much say I'm a three-time felon because my first time possession, I got 3 years and I did 6 months, which was nothing. I was pack on the wrist and I paroled. I turned around and got a delivery and a possession and I got 2 10s running CC and I wind up doing 16 months in TDCJ and I paroled back to Port Arthur, and I wind up getting another possession case, and I wind up getting 15 years. That's the correct story right there.
Okay. All right. So the you just said you had a possession. That was the reason for your last.
Yes, possession of narcotics, crack. Crack cocaine was the thing back then. Everybody was pumping it up in the neighborhood. The neighborhood was like a war zone. Calls coming from all directions, all time of day, all time of night.
So you had a possession. So you were smoking crack.
No, 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 I was not. I was slanging.
No, say that. Then you didn't
Yes.
say that. You
I
didn't
was
say that.
slanging. I was slanging on the corner, trying to get that work. And, sometimes I sell some fake dope if I got to. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right, got you. So once you were booked, how long was it before you found out how much time you were actually going to have to serve?
Well, when I first went down with that 15, I thought it was going to be a cakewalk, tell you the truth. I ain't had no idea what the good Lord had in store for me with the choices that I would make. I made some gangster-fied choices and I paid the price, but I put my work in. I put my work in. So to answer your question, I was really required to do no more than a year and a half, 2 years on that 15-year sentence and get action to make parole. I would be eligible to make parole after a year and a half.
Now, how is it that you will be eligible after a year and a half on a 15-year sentence?
Well, back then, Ann Richards was the governor. That's for your time, so. And she was kind of, I ain't gonna say she was soft on crime, but the laws on the books at that time was in inmates' favor, where you wouldn't just get thrown away like you getting thrown away now. Back then, you had action to get a 30-year, 40-year sentence and got action to go home in 4 or 5 years. So on the 15-year sentence, on the 10-year sentence, it's only required that you do 1 year, which is 12 months. Okay, on the 15-year sentence, you're required to do a year and a half. On the 20, you would do 2 years, maybe 2.5. On the 50, I seen guys with 50-year sentences do 5.5 back then. Then George Bush came along and changed up everything. So you basically doing some hard time now.
So you would do that time and you would be able to get out early based on what? Good behavior, or they would just let you
Good
out?
behavior in Texas. We got a system in Texas they call good time. And they give you good time based on your work ethic, just like in the free world. Attendance to work, being to work every day, not missing work. Going to work, you get what you call credits, good time credits, which if you accumulate 5 years work time, you might have a total of 3,000-4,000 days worth of good time added to your sentence, which now you see how it go. When you add up 2,000 days good time with your 5 years flat time,
Yeah, it takes it out.
You see what I'm saying? It's 365 days in a year.
I got you. Okay, well that's awesome. That was a good system. So as far as you know right now, they're not having that. They don't have that anymore. That system.
Right now I'm not sure because I've been at the system 7 years now, so I'm not sure what they got on the books right now. But I know for aggravated time or aggravated weight and dope possession, etc., uh, aggravated crime, you're gonna do 85% of your time or half of your time. Even on non-violent cases, drug cases, like back in the day, we could get a dope case and come home in a couple of years. You go down there with a fresh 20, you might wind up doing 12, 13 years on that 20. Non-aggravated. It just depends on the parole system, what kind of background you got, and what your behavior is like during your time.
Okay, that's good information to know. I mean, I'm curious because
It's all based on behavior, good behavior and work time. I forgot that, my bad. They got what you call good time and work time. Good time is your good behavior. You do 2-3 years without no disciplinary records, no disciplinary cases. They got what you call write-ups in there, disciplinary cases, disciplinary infractions. You build up good time, no disciplinary record, that also gets added to your time. So if you got a 30 and you build up 5 years worth of good time, no disciplinary records, plus a good record of working, you could do 2 years on a 20-year sentence and go home.
okay, and so is this a myth or is this fact? Like, have you seen people go home?
Yes, I seen people actually go home. I growed up in TDC, so I could give you every angle of the system, whether it's parole, parole stipulations, gang intelligence, administrative segregation, medium custody, close custody, minimum custody. I could break it all down to you.
Okay, we're gonna save that for another time, but I am interested in learning about those different aspects of the prison system.
Yes,
So
yes.
my next question is, how old were you when okay, you said your last time was 15 years. Um, 15 years, or did you say what? How much time did you
My
say?
first time I had a 3-year sentence. I did 6 months. My second time I had 2 tens for delivery and a possession and did 16 months. Ann Richards was in office back then. And you can come home, believe that. Back then I was lucky, but I didn't know the law. I didn't understand the circumstances or none of that. I was totally ignorant. So right now in hindsight, I look back and we had a revolving door. Now I understand what they mean by the revolving door, where dudes going out and it equates with what they call the recidivism rates. But back then, you mentioned a word called recidivism. How the fuck I'ma know what that means? I gotta go read a book. See, that was my problem back then.
So how old were you?
I was 20 years old.
So you was 20 years old. You were 20 years old and you found out that you had to do 15 years.
15 years, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, mama, I'm going back to prison again, so this time, I'm going to go on man up and say, my bad, man. I didn't listen. I got to pay the cost, man, to be the boss, man. So I'm going to go down here and do this hot 2-3 years, which was in my mind. I'm not going to be gone no longer than 2 or 3 years. You couldn't tell me I'm going to be gone 27 and a half years. You got people commit murders, do 20 years and come home. How the fuck do I wind up doing 27? So it's a long story, and I got a lot to get off my chest, believe that.
Okay, and I'm excited to hear about it. I am so excited to hear about it and to learn more in depth about what was going on in your mind and how you go from a young man of 20 years old to how old were you when you were released from prison?
I went in prison, and you know, most people, like when I'm on the job or something, getting to know new people here and there, and I meet a couple of my coworkers here and there, and they get to making inquiries about this and that. You know, I be trying to camouflage, not wanting people to know about my background all the time, because people try to judge you and stereotype you. You know what I'm saying? Stereotype of the black male, misunderstood, but it's still all good. So you know what I'm saying? So some occasions I'll be like, man, how long you did, man? Dude might tell me, man, I did 5, man. How long you did, OG? OG, how long you been in there? Take a guess, man. First thing they say, 10 years. No. I come back, come with some more. 20 years. No. 25. You're almost there, bro. 27 and a half. Damn, OG, you been gone that long, man. That's why you look young like that. And I'll be like, yeah, man, I did that, man. It ain't nothing to brag about, but I kept it real, man. 1,000.
So how old were you?
I was 20 years old when I went in. I was 48 when I came home. 48. 27 and a half years, man. And still got my sanity right now today. Never took no psych medication. Never participated in none of the psych programs. Did my time day for day and discharged. When I came home, I didn't have to report to nobody.
So, with that on your mind, right? You're 20 years old. You know you're about to do 2, 3, maybe even 4 years for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're out of there,
Mm-hmm.
right? After year 5,
Mm-hmm.
did your mind or your mentality change? Like, I'm about to be in this thing for a minute?
That's a good question. That's a good question, but it's a simple answer and a straightforward answer because I was so gangstified in the hood to where when I went to prison, I felt like I just fit right in. You know what I'm saying? I'm not educated in no sense whatsoever. So when you look back in hindsight and you give something like institution, you institutionalized. You hear somebody be a critic towards you and complain or something or accuse you of being institutionalized. So I could pretty much say I became institutionalized within the first couple of years of my incarceration because I was so gangstified. I fell right into the schemes of the rec yard, right into the schemes of the day room, right into the schemes of extortion, right into the schemes of capitalism, right into the schemes of gambling, you know what I'm saying, and everything else that went on up in there. Not wanting to go to work, you know what I'm saying, bucking the system, getting write-ups, fighting, left and right fights. One fight led to this when I hit that 5-year mark, like you say. When I hit that 5-year mark, I was trapped. At that time, did I realize how trapped I was? No. At the 5-year mark, I would never imagine I'd still be doing 27. So at 5 years, I'm going to say my mind was still in a state of triple darkness at that time. Because I'm on the rec yard packing shanks, making shanks. I went right up in there and fell in the game, making shanks, you know, getting up in there, training, boxing, training hand-to-hand combat, you know, and I was ready. I was ready for whatever. And I fell right into whatever. And I paid for it. Ain't nothing worse than what I'll never forget. Some of my worst experiences in the penitentiary. And any guy that did time and was a hard head behind them walls, they'll tell you how it feel. You already locked up. And then you getting locked up again inside the system. You getting charged again for felony offenses committed while you in the system. So ain't nothing worse than being handcuffed on the cell block, on the rec yard, or in the day room, or in the child hall. I done been locked up in every different location over the years. Whether it's a fight in the child hall, a fight in the shower, a fight in the day room, or a fight in the cell. Sooner or later, you're going to be going down the hallway like this in the prison. They escorting you. You know where you're going? You're going to lockup. You're going to another lockup, a one-man cell. You're going from general population to a one-man cell. So it's really heartbreaking, and it's really psychological trauma on top of trauma and disappointment and confusion when you're so ignorant like that and you confused about gangster, you confused about being a father, you confused about being somebody's son, you confused about why you even on earth. So at that 5-year mark, I was still in a state of triple darkness.
So
it probably took me 17, 18 years before I started becoming wise. I started making more calculated moves. I started realizing the consequences of my actions. Shit, I was probably at the 17-year mark by that time.
So do you feel that you lived a double life? while you're in prison, you are gang mentality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gangster, whatever you said,
Mm-hmm.
gangster fied, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
While you're in prison.
Mm-hmm.
But on the outside, you have a family.
Mm-hmm.
And your family is visiting you, calling you, writing
Mm-hmm.
you, and different things. Are
Mm-hmm.
you still being gangstified
Mm-hmm.
the same way
Mm-hmm.
while you're dealing with your family, or do you have to tone it down to deal with your family and then snap back into this gangstified when you get off the phone or out your letter or whatever you're doing?
Mm-hmm. In hindsight, you know, I can speak on that and articulate on it way in an educated way. But back then, like I said, I was going through a journey. I was going through a learning phase. I was going through the rite of passage, just becoming a boy, leaving the boyhood, understanding manhood, understanding responsibilities, and it still was conflicting with my oath to my prison gang. And that was one of the baddest decisions I made to become a prison gang member. I wasn't a gang member before I went to prison. I joined the gang in prison. You see what I'm saying? And I regret that to this day. Even though I may had a lot of good experience with a lot of brothers, but that was not my how you say it? That was not my
Intention.
no, that was not my destiny.
Right.
That was not my destiny. I just made the wrong choices. But now I understand the word destiny. You in control of your own destiny. So I made my bed hard and I laid in it. I always look back. My mama used to say, you make your bed hard, you gonna lay in it. And I used to always think about that saying, man. I make my bed hard, you gonna lay in it. Then I'm laying in that hard ass bunk, my hip hurting, my shoulder hurting, and I'm waking up in the morning with a cramp right here, cramp on my hip, and I'm understanding. Now I understand in hindsight. Yeah, I understand in hindsight that my family was right there for me all the time, and I failed them miserably because I was more committed to a prison gang than I was committed to my family on the outside, and I paid dearly for it.
Okay, we're gonna jump back into that a little bit later as well because I know it's a lot of details to where you say you paid dearly for it because you were living a double life. On one side, you're telling your family, I'm doing the best I can to get out. On the other side, you're telling the gang, I'm gonna die up in here with y'all.
Exactly. You hit that perfectly. Yes, that's exact. And I understand it in hindsight. You'll hear that word a lot. That's when you get older and you look back and you realize in hindsight it's behind you, but you still use it as a pretext going forward. So you understand that when you ignorant, when I look at the youth today and I see them going through that dysfunctional cycle, they going through that pathological psychosis or whatever you want to call it, or diagnose, you know, it's like it's like deja vu. You know what I'm saying? Or it's like a curse. You know what I'm saying? Just like, you know, you can find a bunch of circumstances and throw it in there and say it might be a curse or it might not be a curse, or it might be depending on how religious you is, or how spiritual you is, or how political you is, or how revolutionary you is, intending on how you gonna explain things away. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna say I have a revolutionary mind state, and I have a revolutionary conscience. So I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna stick with that in the beginning I was so lost. I didn't understand nothing about no parenting. I couldn't even hold a conversation. What parenting? What that mean? I didn't know nothing about sociology, what society about, and be able to sit down with somebody and dialogue on that level. But now I can go there with you. Because I'm more mature and I done growed up, but I paid the cost to be the boss, and I got so much to get off my chest. I got a lot to get off my chest, as you can see.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for the introduction. We will be diving back in with more stories and more insight from somebody who has survived 27 and a half years on the inside.
Okay, before we go, I want to give a shout out to God Almighty for blessing us to be here today and blessing me to get out that slum, man. Blessing me to get out that concrete. This free world is so beautiful, man. And I'm so thankful to be with my daughter. And she helped me so much, and I love her so much. So thankful. Shout out to my daughter, Miss T, man. And look out, man. All my comrades, man, Mandingo, man. I got a lot to get off my chest, man. King Mansa Musa, man, for real. And all you niggas out there talking about y'all kings, say, man, when I was down there with y'all in them day rooms on that rec yard, whether it was in the child hall or whatnot, man, wasn't no families going by king such and king such and such, bro. We was the only ones in there, bro, with the term king. Mandingo Warriors, bro, or something like Latin Kings or something like that. But you ain't gonna hear no Crip or no Blood refer to themselves as a king. So that's coming, man. I got a lot to get off my chest, man, and straighten some things out. Cause I was there, bro. I was there in that day room, on that rec yard, whatever, man. However you want to do it, man. We gonna go there. I'm gonna get back.